Welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs. At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you're looking for the latest news and conversation on tech from a more accessible perspective, you've come to the right place.
Yes, indeed you have. Hello everybody and welcome in to Talking Technology episode number 77. Yes, we are at 77. All the sevens, as they would say at a game of bingo. Hope you're keeping well. We have a really packed show coming up for you over the next hour or so. And a really exciting show as well. And do you know what? It's mostly, and this might be unusual for us, but it's mostly good news. We'll be talking about the audio descriptive commentary on the Six Nations. We'll be catching up with Ian McKinley, who is providing that commentary in just a bit as well. We've got a number of stories in tech news. And we will have loads of your voice notes as well. So please do stick around. We'd absolutely love to have you. And hey, a reminder as always that if you would like to get in touch, there are loads of ways that you can do so. So, if you want to join the conversation, well, we'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch with us on WhatsApp by sending us a WhatsApp voice note. And you can send that voice note to 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. Or if you want to get in touch with us the good old-fashioned way, using email, you can send us an email to content@vi.ie. Content@vi.ie. That's VI for visionireland.ie. And that will get to us, and we will air some of your thoughts hopefully on the show. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with us, whether it's about the news, whether it's some tech that you've tried, whether it's an experience you've had. We'd love to hear from you, so please do get in touch. And now to go through the mailbag this week, we are joined from Kilkenny by the one, the only Mr. Joe Lonigan. Joe, how are you?
Hi David, I'm good.
Excellent stuff, Joe. Now, Joe, loads of voice notes and various messages in this time around. But our first one, I suppose, is in from Adrian. Adrian got in touch with us by email. So we've got Adrian's message here. Here's what Adrian had to say.
Hi VI Labs team. I listened to your recent podcast discussion about diversity, equity and inclusion backlash, and I wanted to share some insights about why, in my opinion, disability inclusion programs are likely to remain largely unaffected by this trend. The key reason is that disability has historically operated outside traditional DEI frameworks in most organizations. While this separation wasn't always welcome, it's now becoming an unexpected advantage. Disability initiatives are typically embedded within operational strategies and HR processes as workplace accommodations, rather than being part of DEI departments, making them less vulnerable to current anti-DEI sentiment. Moreover, disability inclusion has a clear business case. With the global disability market representing an opportunity and soon an obligation in the EU, companies are motivated by profit and competitiveness rather than diversity mandates. Major corporations like Microsoft, Apple, or Amazon have demonstrated how designing for accessibility drives innovation and captures new market segments. These business models will continue regardless of shifting attitudes toward DEI programs. Best regards, Adrian.
Thanks so much, Adrian. Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. Joe, what are your thoughts on that? That kind of idea that I suppose it's ultimately, profits and innovation will drive accessibility forward, and not necessarily those mandates that we're seeing. What are your kind of general thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is an interesting take, but I think in some ways, Adrian is right. Yeah, we are at a place now where our technology is working around other technology and keeping up with it, but as I might have said to you before, David, it's also good to have those big players on board when it comes to accessibility. So they start building it from the inside out, if you know what I mean, and then offering it to us on a plate rather than us always having to catch up with them. So I think it's good from us, good to work at it from both ends. But it is a pity some of them are getting rid of their diversity models. But I think it'd be better if they kept up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, I think it is a shame in some sense, because like you want them to, you want companies, it's a double-edged sword. You want companies to do it because it's the right thing to do, as well as being profitable. Or at least it would be nice to think that they would. Whether they would or not, I think that's a different matter. But Adrian, I think you raises a very interesting point that, maybe, being separate from the kind of diversity and inclusion backlash, if you call it that, that we've seen in the last little while, maybe that will benefit us. But it's an interesting perspective. I think we can only hope, though, that, these kind of, programs to support accessibility and stuff like that, that it doesn't impact, people with disabilities too hardly if programs are dropped, which it seems that many companies, unfortunately, are doing, whether it's good for them profit-wise or not, it seems, Joe.
Yeah, I think, and a trend has been set from X, famously Elon Musk got rid of his accessibility department, and I'd be hoping that trend doesn't keep going, because there is a big percentage of people that have a disability of some sort, and keeping on side with people with disabilities is profitable as well as being ethically good,
Yep, absolutely. Well, we can only hope that things do stay on the up and up, but time will tell on that. Adrian, thank you so much for sending in that message by email. If you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to content@vi.ie. Really appreciate it. Next up, we had a message in from Geraldine. And Geraldine, Joe, well, she was very happy with an article you wrote and had some tips of her own. Here is what Geraldine had to say.
Hi, I've just been reading the review of the cooking, the weighing scales, and well, first of all, Geraldine Duggan here. I'm vision impaired, the owner of a guide dog in Tipperary. So enjoyed your information on the weighing scales. Just also wanted to say that 2 items I find very useful, they may be of help to other people, is the talking blood pressure monitor and the talking thermometer. The ear thermometer I was able to purchase from Breathe in the Vision Ireland shop. The talking blood pressure monitor wasn't available on the Vision Ireland site, but Breathe was able to source it for me from RNIB, and I just find it excellent, as I'm also a carer for my husband, and I find those 2 items may be of help to somebody else. Thanks for all the info. Bye.
Thanks so much, Geraldine. Really appreciate it. And all hail Breda, Joe. She's doing the Saints' work there in Kilkenny. So thanks, Breda. But some really great tips from Geraldine there, for sure.
Oh, for sure. The talking thermometer, especially good for people with kids, even, if you're a mum and dad with vision impairment, it's great to have a talking thermometer. As Geraldine said, she's a carer there, so it comes in handy. And the weighing scales as well. I know they can be a little bit more expensive than buying your normal weighing scales, but to have a talking weighing scale, especially if you're doing any baking or cooking in the kitchen, it needs a bit of, I suppose, weighing recipe items and things like that. Yeah, it's invaluable. So there is solutions out there for everything. Just put on your thinking cap, get involved, and call Breda, and she'll help you out there in the shop.
There you go. Yeah, you can. In fairness, I got some stuff. Breda sourced some stuff for myself as well from the RNIB there before Christmas. So, she's doing the Lord's work there. So fair play, Breda. Thank you very much. And thank you, Geraldine, for getting in touch. Do you know, it's interesting, Joe. Geraldine mentions there those blood pressure monitors. And I was looking recently at, do you know the Withings smart blood pressure monitors that actually sync with your phone? So you strap the little unit on and, it gives you an out squeeze, the way the blood pressure monitors do. But then when it's done, it just syncs the results of that to your phone. And it's cool to see that there are a variety of options out there now, isn't it?
Yeah, there's smart options out there as well if you're a smartphone user. And if you're not, then, as Geraldine mentioned, we can source one here in the Kilkenny shop from RNIB. So, yeah, it's good to see there's a few different options out there.
Absolutely. Geraldine, thank you so much for getting in touch. Really appreciate that. And a really, really interesting point you make as well, and really useful information. So thank you for that. Next up, we are heading to a message from Norma. Norma got in touch with us with a question around audio description. Here's what Norma had to say.
Hi, how are you doing? My name is Norma. Quick question for the Tech Talk team. I would like some audio descriptor Bluetooth connection so I could listen to that on my headphones while the rest of the people in the room can just listen to a normal TV program. But yeah, I don't know if the option is available. And yeah, it would trying to sync progression watching on different devices. It isn't working at all. So I'm wondering if there's a proper YouTube switch that I could connect my headphones to and just listen to the audio descriptor while other people watching the program could just do it normally with the TV. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Norma. Yeah, it's a brilliant question. And my first thought on this was that you were going to struggle to find an option. It seems like something that's so obvious. But I think my initial thought was I wasn't aware of a solution. But Joe, you did some digging around.
Yeah, well, I remember years ago there was an app called Earcatch, and I looked that up again. And apparently it's still out there. Earcatch. You can bring it to the cinema with you as well, and the idea is you open the app, it listens out for what movie you are watching, and then it tries to sync the audio, and it'll play the audio description track through your ear, and you can watch the movie. Listen to the movie or watch the movie through your other ear, if you know what I mean. So that's the idea of it, and Earcatch claimed that they work in with movies, theatre and TV programs. But the trouble is with these things, it's all about the company keeping up with the new content that's out there. So whatever Norma is into, thanks for the voice note, by the way, Norma, but whatever content you're into, the trouble is Earcatch may not have it in its catalogue. So that could be a big issue. There's also another app out there called Movie Reader. This was an RNIB option back in the day. I think they started testing it back in 2015. So you could look up those couple of apps and see are they downloadable on your iPhone, Norma, and let us know if you had any luck with it. Because the only thing is we couldn't guarantee what content it will work with or what content you are into. So it's a kind of a trial and error job. But it's good to see there has been development in the area. The trouble is trying to get people to adopt it as well, and maybe get enough users interested in it to keep the development up there, David. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think it's one of these things, though, that like the market has never been, nobody's ever tested fully to see if the market's there. Like Earcatch, to their credit, have done a good bit. But last time I looked at Earcatch, the catalogue was relatively small. And if you want to watch a show that's on, let's say, Netflix or on, even on the, national broadcasters like RTE or Virgin, it's kind of a case of, well, that content is unlikely to be on something like an Earcatch. And I think that's a real shame, because especially if the show is being broadcast live or something like that, it can be really advantageous to just, be able to relax with family members there. Like in our house now, bear in mind that, you know, we're in a majority visually impaired household. But I think we've just kind of gotten used to having audio description on at this point. But it's also, you know, that shouldn't have to be the case. There should be options to enable people to just watch stuff with their family, you know?
There should be. Look, and trying to get it all synced up with different companies and making sure they have the up-to-date stuff, that's the issue. But for blockbuster movies and things like that, I think we should be at the stage now where there's an audio track provided by somebody out there, or maybe a subscription service or something like that. But look, all I can mention so far is Earcatch and Movie Reader, and see are they still available. And there was one called Spectrum as well for different disabilities. It had subtitles and captions and also audio description on it. But as far as I could see, it's only available in America at the moment. So look, there is a bit of development out there, Norma. And look, if anybody else has any ideas on it or has come across a good app to sync in with your audio description, please let us know.
Absolutely. Yeah, please do, because it's an area that, there isn't as much information on that as one would like. So please do get in touch with us either by email or with a voice note. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much, Norma, as well, for getting in touch. A fantastic question. A really interesting point that you brought up, and something that really should be there, even if it isn't right now. But thank you so much for that. Our final voice note this week comes from Cian, and Cian has a brand new fancy toy in the house.
Hi guys, it's Cian McAvoy here. Just wanted to ask you a question. So we got a brand new fancy video Ring doorbell. My dad has it set up on his account. However, he wants me to log into it too. Do you know of a way how I could log into that, or do I have to do something where how could you say, do I have to get him to share something with me, or because I've allowed notifications and it's asking me to sign in or to set up an account. I think my dad already has one set up, but let me know, please.
Now, I must say, I'm interested in the answer to this as well, because we have we've got a Ring video doorbell at home, but it linked to one account. I'd love to be able to just share access to that account, and it would make life a whole lot easier if everyone could have their own, login, email and password and stuff. Joe, tell me, is that possible?
Yeah, of course, David. You used the word there, share access. That's the one thing we can do. Well, there's a couple of things actually we can do. His dad could also sign him into the device using his details if he wanted to, but that's not always, we'll say, data proof for his dad. He might not want to do that. So what Cian could do is maybe set up his own account, but then and log in. But then his dad could go into, we could say the Ring video doorbell is called Front Door. Go into Front Door, click on Settings, and then click on Share Access, and then type in Cian's email address and send him. There's a little button you can press, like Share Access, and send the invite to Cian, and then Cian will have access to all the events on the doorbell. So if somebody comes up, motion is detected, Cian will get a notification and he'll be able to watch it or listen out for it, and look back on some of the events on the doorbell. So Share Access. So look for the doorbell in the Ring app, inside the app, then click Settings and click Share Access, type in the email address and send the invite to Cian, and there you go. So Cian will hopefully have access then to the Ring video doorbell.
Yeah. It's a good idea, Joe, just to add to that if he has the app installed first, when he clicks on the email, then the invite will link straight in for him.
Yeah, that is really good to know. That is fantastic. Do you know what? That's something I actually didn't know, but now that I do, that's something I think I'm going to set up for myself, because we have the family sharing set up for all of the other smart devices in the house through HomeKit and stuff like that. But I never did the Ring video doorbell, so that is I've multiple Ring accounts for all different various things. It's a headache, but that might allow me to tidy things up, which is brilliant. So thank you for asking the question, Cian, and thanks, Joe. Daniel, were you going to come in there as well?
Yeah, just saying I've successfully done exactly what Cian is asking on two Samsung Galaxy phones before, so definitely know it works on the Android side. And see no reason why it shouldn't work if one or both the users are iPhone users either. So
there you
go.
I
think it should be an easy win for you there. Hopefully, Cian. Hopefully that works out for you.
Awesome stuff. And if you do need a hand with that, Cian, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can get in touch with our tech support team by sending us an email to labs@vi.ie for technology support, or you can call 1-800-911-110. All right, Cian, thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who sent us in voice notes this week. If you do want to send us a voice note, you can do it on WhatsApp. The number you need for that one, 086 199 0011. So many numbers to remember, goodness me. And remember, a voice note is not a call, so you want to use the WhatsApp voice note button. It's located at the bottom right of the chat screen for you there. So thanks to all who got in touch, and please don't hesitate to get in touch with us if you have thoughts or something to share. We'd love to hear from you. But now let's move on, shall we? Because the weekend before last, was really, really exciting for accessibility, and especially for the accessibility of sport. You'll remember back in a past episode of Talking Technology that we were talking about audio-described rugby. But at the time, this was only in the UK through ITV. You could kind of work around this to kind of access audio description in Ireland through ITV. But now it's official. Guinness have teamed up with Virgin Media to provide audio descriptive commentary and also Irish Sign Language commentary for the Six Nations, which is really, really cool. And we are going to be catching up with Ian McKinley in just a few minutes, who was providing that audio descriptive commentary. But if you were watching the Ireland-England game on Virgin Media, not last weekend, but the weekend before, if you were listening to that game at the start, you might have heard this.
Just to mention, by the way, the Guinness Six Nations, and we're thrilled to bring it to you, has teamed up with Virgin Media Television to make this year's championship the most accessible yet for those of you at home. So you may be unaware, over 500,000 people in Ireland are either blind or visually impaired or deaf, which understandably may well make live sporting events far less accessible. So with that in mind, Virgin Media Television is providing live audio descriptive commentary, and that's going to be available during the games through the audio settings on your box. And there will also be an Irish Sign Language pop-up channel on Virgin Media Play, and you'll get your subtitles as well throughout our coverage. So hopefully that makes a big difference for lots of you out there at home.
And that is really cool, and I think it is fantastic to see both audio description and Irish Sign Language side by side there as accessibility features. It's exceptionally rare, but it's great to see, isn't it, Joe?
It's brilliant to have an audio description service on, especially on our own, we'll say, terrestrial channel. You know, so Virgin. I know. I don't think it's available on the RT side yet, but on Virgin, it is great to have it, and I enjoy having the option to have audio description. There is lots of quiet bits in games, we'll say, that you. I suppose you might be a little bit lost if the commentator starts going on about something else, but there's somebody maybe down on the pitch and all that kind of stuff, and you're not sure why the stoppage is. So it's good to have that extra little bit of audio description to keep you in tune with what's going on in the game.
Absolutely. You mentioned there when someone's down on the pitch or whatever, and it was our boss, Mr. Dennis Nolan, the head of training here for Vision Ireland. He was saying earlier in the week, and he made an interesting point, that during the rugby match on, I think it was Sunday, Ireland's rugby match on Sunday against Scotland, that there was someone sustained quite a nasty injury in that game. And he was wondering, how that will be described from an audio description point of view. And unfortunately, as you said, Joe, the audio description and sign language interpretation, it's not on RTE yet. It's only Virgin Media have that sponsorship deal with Guinness. But hopefully this will expand, if enough people use it and find it of benefit. It does make a big difference, doesn't it?
Exactly, it does make a big difference, and you can't beat a bit of competition from your rival Virgin Media. Maybe that might shake things up a little bit, but there was a long stoppage in that game, and I suppose it can get frustrating, maybe asking the person beside you what's going on, and even on the couch, like, you know.
Yeah.
So I suppose to get that extra piece of information about those kind of bits, even to know who's injured, who's coming on for them, is there a blood sub coming on or a permanent substitution, is there going to be a penalty, you know, the referee, the good thing about rugby as well, the referee, you can, in some games you can hear what the referee is saying through the microphone, which is excellent. I know it doesn't always work in all of the games because of different reasons, maybe it's not connected to the bigger mics and stuff like that, but in general, rugby is a very inclusive game like that. There's lots going on, but there's also lots of information being given to the commentators and stuff, and the commentators relay it onto us. I think it's brilliant.
Absolutely. Well, listen, so we caught up with Ian McKinley, and Ian was one of the audio descriptive commentators for the Ireland-England match on Virgin Media, and they'll be doing more matches as well as the competition progresses. But it's a great conversation, and he told us all about how the whole process works. So here's what happened when I caught up with Ian McKinley, audio descriptive commentator on Virgin Media. So joining me now on Talking Technology, he is the voice of the audio descriptive commentary on Virgin and also a international rugby player. I'm joined by Ian McKinley. Ian, how are things?
David, all good. Thank you very much. Yeah, looking forward to chatting about this.
So, Ian, I suppose the first thing that comes up, so obviously we're talking about the Six Nations here. The Six Nations obviously ongoing. Ireland getting off to a good start so far. But I suppose, first of all, for those who aren't aware of audio descriptive commentary, what is it and how did it come about?
Yeah, so it was a new thing for me, to be honest, up until recently. But I know a lot of League of Ireland football clubs on the island have been doing this for a number of years. And even up in Ulster Rugby, it's been going for the last 5 years, which I didn't really realise. So Virgin Media have sort of are piloting this scheme with the Six Nations to provide this audio descriptive style of commentating, and essentially what that is trying to provide a proper service for those that are visually impaired, blind or deaf. So it was the first time it was piloted with Virgin Media at the weekend. So myself and another commentator, Stu McAvoy, were on the Ireland-England game, and we have worked together, but never in this capacity. So it was certainly different from commentating on other games where it's just we had to be a lot more descriptive about things, you know, certain things that, you know, people might take for granted, being the, you know, colour of players' boots or a particular type of strapping that a player wears, or even what the, you know, referee is wearing, the type of jersey or the colour of the jersey. So it was just trying to paint a clearer picture for those that were tuning in. And I believe in total there was around 800,000 that tuned in for the Ireland game alone, which is massive, and in and around 5,000 of those tuned into this audio descriptive style of commentating. So I hope that's 5,000 people that benefited from our service.
That's fantastic to hear. Yeah, I remember hearing once that, you know, audio descriptive commentary, where regular commentary kind of tells you, I suppose, who has the ball or whatever at any given time, where audio descriptive commentary will kind of focus on where someone is on the pitch, you know, gives a little bit more of a descriptive kind of feel to the game. Would that be a fair kind of?
Yeah, it's 100% correct. So, you know, even if you maybe are new to the game, you know, we're trying to describe, you know, say for example, a scrum. It's on the 15 meter line, on the 22, and then even within that, you know, trying to paint a picture of the ground. So, you know, you might have, you know, a particular team playing towards the Havelock Square end in Lansdowne Road or the Aviva, and trying to paint that sort of description. So I must admit I was pretty exhausted driving back home after the game, because you really had to be in tune with everything that was going on, and also at the same time trying to think of at the same time of people following you and what they would be interested in, and trying to cater for, I suppose, all needs, and trying to get that balance of maybe, viewers who have followed rugby for many years, but maybe those that are new to the game. I'm just trying to make sure that image is as clear as possible, so that people can follow the game as closely as they want to. So no, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and always looking for feedback from people who tuned in to see if they found it beneficial or not.
Well, I think that the number you mentioned there, 5,000 people, that's a lot of people. And I know there were many deaf viewers as well, because you were providing Irish Sign Language commentary as well for the first time, which is really, it's fantastic to see accessibility playing a bigger part in sport and in media, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, 100%. And again, rugby has a big push for, an inclusive game, and even in the professional game, you need all different shapes and sizes to come together as a unit to try and put forward the best performances possible. So why can't that extend towards the viewership or participation at grassroots level and into the professional game? So I suppose I've been fortunate enough to be asked to do it, and thoroughly enjoy it, and at the same time trying to give an accurate description of what the game is, and also call the game as you see it, and not with respect dumbing it down in any way. You still want to provide a professional service in terms of what you're professionally seeing. So again, it's just trying to strike that balance. But there's going to be another game, Ireland-Wales, where myself and Stu are going to be providing this again. And after those two games, we'll maybe review the situation and see what way this can be put going forward.
Awesome stuff. So when the game is happening, do you guys, are you based in the stadium? Are you in a Virgin Media studio somewhere? How does all of that work? Does it differ from the regular commentators?
Yeah, so I think, well, to answer you straight, we were in the studio in Virgin Media, and I think there might be the potential to maybe actually get at the game. It's always great being able to commentate at any game, because you really get the sense of the atmosphere, even the what the wind is like, because that can have an effect in how a team sets up and how they play. You can also maybe paint a wider description of how the team is defending, with certain people in the backfield. And sometimes when you're in TV or in a studio, it's hard to get that gauge. But I think we were happy enough being in the studio for the first one to see how it went. And again, I'm sure there'll be hopefully a review of this. And again, I suppose the more information or feedback that we get, the better.
That's awesome. I do want to, and we'll tell people a bit more about how they can access the audio descriptive commentary and Irish Sign Language commentary going forward in a bit. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about your own rugby career, because you play rugby professionally, and I know as well that you have vision only in one eye, if I understand correctly. So how does that impact how you play the game?
Yeah, so I think that has maybe put me in pole position to be able to help with this style of commentating from personal experience. So to give a very short summary of my career, I'm now retired, but I grew up in Dublin and grew up through the Leinster and Irish underage system, and got to playing for Leinster professionally at the age of 19, so sort of just out of school. So things were going in the right direction of realising this dream of playing international rugby. And unfortunately, just had a freak accident during a rugby game where there's a boot, an eye, a stud, so a piece of metal all coming together at completely the wrong time. And unfortunately, the stud penetrated my eye and bursted my eyeball, and due to further complications, I was left with a detached retina, therefore left with zero vision. So see pretty much black out of my left eye. So that was fairly traumatic to happen at the age of 20. Subsequently retired at 21, just because the vision had completely gone, and felt that it was difficult to continue playing professional sport, maybe with one eye, and got an opportunity to work and coach, which is another thing that I'm really interested in apart from playing. So coaching rugby, even though I've got experience in other sports, but rugby was the main one. So got a job offer over in Italy, in northern Italy. So moved over there when I was 22, but there was this sort of burning desire that to keep playing, and your life is too short. So I with the help of my brother, got back and found these protective eye goggles, which had never been around before, and started, after a 3-year absence, started playing again at the lowest end of Italian club rugby, and gradually built my way up and climbed the ladder, and ultimately signed for a professional team in Benetton Treviso over there. And because of the eligibility rules, at the time it was 3 years, I then, in inverted commas, became Italian and put on the Italian jersey, so became an international rugby player in 2017, and played with them up until 2020.
That's an amazing story when you think about it. Like, it is, I think, like, I'm visually impaired myself, and I'd often find, like, even growing up, sport, there's so many options to make sport accessible, but there are still, I think, difficulties in that area. But it sounds like you really adapted it, and it is fantastic that you got to get back up to that professional level, which I suppose was where you were, you kind of corrected course there, which was fantastic to see, isn't it?
Yeah, and listen, I wouldn't have achieved I wouldn't have achieved anything if it wasn't for having an extremely powerful and positive and willing group around me. And I will always make reference to them, and that's my family, friends, and my wife. And you really need the support of other people to help you achieve things at a high level. So, there were huge frustrations along the way. There were certain unions that didn't permit me to play with the goggles. So you were having to fight an awful lot of battles off the field. On the field, it's certainly the position that I played, which is out half. So it's sort of like the conductor of an orchestra, or quarterback in American football. You're sort of the link person, and the person that's sort of making decisions, and a lot rides on your shoulders with how the team is going. So it was certainly difficult with lack of or zero sight in your left eye. There was certain things that you had to change in your game, but that sort of kept things fresh as well in my mind. And there was always something to work for. The simplest example I always use is that I'm left-footed, so sometimes if I put the ball out, I couldn't see it with the way I used to kick, so I had to change my kicking style a little bit. So it was a constant love-hate relationship in some way of trying to crack what you were trying to work at. But no, just extremely fortunate to have realised a dream of playing international rugby. And in some ways, I've fallen into the visually impaired world and never thought it would happen. And I'm grateful that I have, to a certain degree, because the people that you meet along the way, and the inspirational figures that you also meet that who have it much worse. But I suppose whenever I was playing, I never wanted to think of it like that, because it's a professional environment. It can be a ruthless environment, and you're always out to sort of prove people wrong, whether that's individually or collectively. So I always wanted to sort of break down barriers and prove to not only yourself but to other people that just because you've got this particular problem with vision, that you can get to a high level and perform well.
What would be your hope for the accessibility of sport, audio descriptive commentary, all of that over the next, year, 5 years, 10 years? Where do you hope it goes, and where do you see it going? Yeah,
well, I think, looking back, when I sort of started on my professional rugby journey, which would have been, the 2008, 2009 season. None of this was really ever talked about. So I think the biggest thing is just education and educating people and storytelling and finding out exactly the needs of people and what services you can provide. And that, you can lean on other people's experiences in years gone by to try and help with that. But I think, I would have had my battles with the Irish Rugby Federation in terms of the usage of goggles, but I must give credit to the Federation now, because I think there are a lot of initiatives that are being put forward and implemented, and people are not hiding from it and trying to really push this inclusivity mantra forward, which is a good thing. I mean, rugby prides itself on it, and I would, personally, I would just love to see more participation, just the numbers grow and grow and grow, because there are many different forms of rugby. So you have full-on contact, you've got touch, you've got the reduced format of 7s, 10s, you've rugby league, which is played in 13s. You also have got beach rugby, you've got snow rugby, you've got wheelchair rugby. There's now visually impaired rugby in Ireland, which has been up and going for the last 4 years. And, there are players on that team who have never travelled before or never been part of a team. And now all of a sudden they're part of a team, they feel involved, and they're getting exercise, they're feeling good about themselves, they're finding out that they have to fight their own corner at the same time, and they're also traveling, which can be a daunting thing, but the fact that we're doing it in a group is maybe makes it a lot easier. So there's been trips to France, there's been trips to England, there's trips planned further afield, which is just fantastic. So that's really the most heartwarming thing. And I remember whenever I retired for the second time, and I was at a particular event, an inclusivity event, a particular person said to me is that, you were very, very lucky to be in the 1%. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you got to be in the professional bubble, which, only few can ever dream or aspire to get to. But now look how lucky you are now being in the 99%, which is the grassroots, the club level. And those stories are just as heartwarming as winning any test match, or, being asked for an autograph whenever you were playing and all that sort of stuff. So this provides a different rush, but just as heartwarming.
Awesome stuff. And I suppose one of the most important questions then to lead us out, Ian, what do you think our chances are? Can we win the Six Nations again this year?
So whenever people ask me this, I always am a bit crude in my response. By we, I'm assuming you're talking Italy, but I know you're meaning Ireland. So listen, Ireland are in a fantastic position in the last few years, potentially going for 3 Six Nations titles in a row, which is just crazy to think. So after the win against England, Ireland are in a very, very good position, but you don't want to think too far ahead, but you would imagine that game against France is going to be the decisive one. But there's the small matter of trying to beat Scotland in Edinburgh first. So that happens on Sunday.
One step at a time. Ian, thank you so much for that. An absolute pleasure, and best of luck, and thank you for the service with the audio described commentary. You're doing a fantastic job with it, so thank you so much.
David, thank you. Appreciate it.
And there you have it. That's Ian McKinley. He is the audio descriptive commentator alongside Stuart McAvoy on Virgin Media. If you do want to explore the audio descriptive commentary or audio description in general for content you're watching on television, you can enable it in a few ways. If you're a Sky or a Virgin Media customer, you can find the audio description option in your settings or on voice voice-enabled devices such as the Sky Glass or Sky Q. You can turn on audio description by voice just by talking to your television. For ServeU users, if you're using the free ServeU platform, you can turn on audio description using a button on your remote. So there's an AD button on remotes for certified ServeU boxes. Just note that not all boxes are necessarily ServeU certified. You can find a full list of ServeU certified boxes on their website as well. But if you do have a ServeU certified box, there is a button on your remote. For Air TV customers, you go into the audio settings when you're watching a show, and you can enable it there as well. And links to more information on finding out how you can enable audio description for the various TV platforms can be found on the Vision Ireland website. Just go to vi.ie, and in the article where we talk about the audio descriptive commentary, there's links there to various sources that can give you information. There's videos and stuff there to show you how to enable audio description should you want it. And finally, for now, if you do want to dive into some visually impaired rugby, maybe you're looking to play yourself, or maybe you just want to find out more, you can find out tons of information about that on the Vision Sports website, visionsports.ie as well. So yeah, loads of ways to get involved with sport and to make sport accessible. So thank you so much to Ian and Stuart, all the team at Virgin Media and Guinness. Sounds like they're doing a fantastic job over there. And 5,000 people, it's a lot of people are benefiting from audio description and sign language. So it really is great to see sport becoming more accessible. But now, your thoughts, if you do want to get in touch. Have you listened to audio descriptive commentary in person, on television? How did you find it? How did you feel it benefited you? You can send us a WhatsApp voice note to 086 199 0011, or you can send us an email to content@vi.ie. But for now, it's time for an ad break on Talking Technology. Don't go anywhere. The news is up just after this. So do pop on the kettle. We'll be back in just a bit.
Talking Technology with VI Labs continues after this. Don't go anywhere.
Every day in Ireland, 18 people begin to lose their sight. This starting statistic becomes even more heartbreaking when you learn that 75% of blindness is preventable with early intervention. If you or someone you love is experiencing difficulties with their eyesight, don't wait. Call Vision Ireland today at 1800 911 250 or make a referral through our website at www.vi.ie. We're here to help because sight matters.
Learning to touch type can be one of the most effective ways to increase your independence using technology. But how do you learn to type? Why not join the upcoming VI Labs Touch Typing course? Whether you want to type letters, emails, or web searches, our skilled team of instructors will have you typing like a rocket in no time. To sign up for our Touch Typing course, send us an email to training@vi.ie or give the VI Labs Help Desk a call on 1800 911 110. We look forward to seeing you there.
At Vision Ireland, we're here to support people with sight loss through every stage of life. From helping children thrive in school to guiding young adults into further education and empowering career success, our tailored services make a difference. Call Vision Ireland today at 1800 911 250 or make a referral through our website at www.vi.ie to learn how we can support you or your loved one on their journey.
This ad break is over.
Thanks, Joe. Yes, this ad break is indeed over. But hey, if you want to learn more about some of the courses on offer from Vision Ireland, there is a full list of upcoming courses from VI Labs on our website. You can just go to the upcoming events section and you'll see all of the upcoming events, not only from technology, so like the touch typing, smart speaker courses, all of that, but you'll also find events from other departments, from sport. There's yoga there at the moment as well, trauma enforced yoga. So really trauma informed yoga, I should say, as well there. Apologies. But there is loads of information there. Just go to the upcoming events section of our website. But now it is time for the Nuacht.
This is Talking Technology News.
And with your latest Talking Technology News, I'm Daniel Dunn. Both Seeing AI and Be My Eyes have received major updates, with Seeing AI in particular getting a major redesign. Seeing AI 5.5 sees the removal of the traditional channel selector, with the app now having 3 tabs instead. The Read tab merges the short text, document and writing channels, while a new Describe tab optimizes the image descriptions that had traditionally been a part of the Seeing channel. There is also a More tab which gives you access to all of the traditional channels, plus a new channel called Find My Things. Some will like to change and others won't, and that will largely depend on how you use the app. All the same, devices as before can run Seeing AI, although the app does seem notably slower to load now, even on the modern devices. You can find out more details about Seeing AI 5.5 in the Technology News section of the Vision Ireland website, vi.ie. For Be My Eyes, they have added new settings that allow you to control how the app uses your data. You can now decide not to share your videos with third parties by going to the Settings tab and selecting Privacy and Terms. From there, select Video Sharing, which then allows you to adjust your video sharing preference. The bigger change for Be My Eyes users, though, is for those with low vision who don't use a screen reader. The app can now read responses on its own without the need for voiceover to be enabled. This change will likely benefit many people who could benefit from speech but don't need to use the voiceover system all of the time. Let us know what you think of these updates with a WhatsApp voice note now. In other news, Elon Musk wants to own even more stuff. A consortium led by the multi-billionaire have offered to purchase the non-profit parent of technology company OpenAI, makers of ChatGPT. The offer to buy the company is worth an incredible $97.4 billion and was submitted to the OpenAI board on Monday. Elon already owns social media platform X, rocket company SpaceX, car maker Tesla, and a variety of other companies. But owning OpenAI will give Elon a ton of control over not just tools like ChatGPT, but also tools like the GPT API, which is responsible for powering many assistive technology tools, including Be My AI. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman wasn't too impressed by the offer and instead offered to buy Elon's company X for $9.74 billion. At the moment, these are all just big money offers, but it is interesting to think about the implications of any purchase and what it could hypothetically mean for assistive technology. And finally, for now, today is Safer Internet Day. As the name suggests, Safer Internet Day encourages us all to be safe online, with a particular focus on the safety of kids using the internet. A survey from CyberSafe Kids found that 82% of youngsters between the ages of 8 and 12 have unsupervised access to smart devices, with 28% saying they can go online whenever they want. Just 35% of those surveyed said that their parents were able to see what they access online, which is an incredibly low statistic. CyberSafe Kids are encouraging parents to ensure that the same rules apply to kids both online and offline. Alex Cooney, CEO of CyberSafe Kids, said, "We've long seen a trend in our survey data highlighting a disconnect between children and their parents about what children are doing online. We urgently need to provide better support to parents so they feel more confident about engaging with their children about the online activity, setting limits around use and access, and using parental controls, and even holding off on giving children devices or access to social media, especially if they feel their child is not ready. There is too much social pressure for children to be online, and in many cases it's before they are ready. Our Same Rules Apply campaign seeks to support parents in approaching children's online lives with the same care and supervision that we apply to their offline lives. How do you feel we should keep kids safe online? What age is it appropriate for kids to have a smartphone? Let us know your thoughts with a WhatsApp voice note. And that's it for now. If you want to send us your stories or thoughts, we'd be delighted to hear from you. The number you need to contact us is 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. Remember, a voice note is not a call, so please don't call that number or you will make David very sad. The button to send a voice note can be found at the bottom right corner of the WhatsApp chat interface. But for now, it's back to you, David.
Thank you, Daniel. Some really interesting stories there. I do want to ask yourself and Joe there, because you're both parents. I'm not a parent. So from your point of view, I'll start with yourself, Daniel. What age is it acceptable to give a child a phone in your view?
Suppose the way to approach that one is the phone is incorporating, more communications, or I suppose originally that was what was taught, and people often handed their children tablets as opposed to smartphones. But really nowadays the lines are blurred, because the communications apps and the chat features and the ability to, do calls or text chats and messages, it's nearly on a par across both devices. So you just have to be very careful in supervising, what communications abilities are built into apps, and in particular, some gaming platforms where chat with friends is okay. Well, as parents, you'll probably say, yeah, that's good. But what happens when a stranger, an unknown contact is able to chat in a game? That's where the real worry creeps in, and it's got to be really monitored well. So for parents, they really want to be keeping a close eye on those apps, particularly the ones with the built-in chat features. So it is a matter of good supervision, and then how do you determine an age? There are platforms there that have games that are at the younger end of the child's age group. So how do you feel yourself as a parent in letting them have access to it? Are you prepared to put in the effort in supervising it? I think is nearly the question you want to be asking. For sure. If all of us are time poor at the moment, if you don't have the time to really keep a close eye on it, I think it's not a good idea to let them on the platform. You kind of have to be there over the shoulder somewhat, keeping an eye on what's going on.
Joe,
what I'd say.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Joe, I suppose it probably depends on the child as well, and their, I guess, maturity level and various other factors as well, doesn't it?
It does, but I think general rule is no child needs a smartphone before they go to secondary school, really. I know there's an argument out there, maybe a vision impaired child might need a smartphone, or maybe definitely a tablet, just to have accessibility options to use apps, maybe like Be My Eyes or Seen AI or some of those apps that might help them in everyday life for accessibility reasons. But then other things we could talk about: safety, a safe internet day. There's lots of different aspects to it. Addiction is another one. You have kids out there 8, 9, 10 addicted to playing video games like Fortnite, and Fortnite's I suppose their thing is to try and get the child addicted, so they'll play it more often and spend more money buying V-Bucks and all that kind of stuff, and you're able to chat to your friends, which is a good thing, I suppose, socialising and chatting with your friends through a headset, but it does make the thing more addictive and can contribute more to a sedimentary lifestyle, so the child is sitting down more than exercising. So there's lots of things to do with safety on the internet, apart from just stopping your child talking to strangers online. Of course, look, we've heard of people getting in contact with kids on Club Penguin and Roblox and all those other games. So if you can't supervise your child for even some of the time, make sure you have restrictions on them being on these apps. There's parental controls inside your tablets and iPhones. Make sure you have them turned on to the degree you like, or the intensity do you like, so you can restrict your child on certain apps, and also you can put a timer on certain apps. So the biggest issue there is your child might be cleverer than you are when it comes to devices, and they can turn the timer off and disable that stuff themselves. So make sure, look, you have your codes and your parental controls turned on, David, and that might help you some of the way. But look, it's a very tricky world we live in now. Everything is online, and it's getting even more difficult, you know. So it's hard for me to give advice to any parent, but I think don't give them the smartphone too young if you can help it.
Yeah, it's interesting, and CyberSafe there they said as well, and they make an interesting point that yes, parents have a role to play, but also so do those big tech companies, the likes of your Facebook and your Instagram and all of those companies. I heard over the weekend that Meta have implemented teen accounts now for Instagram. So those have different capabilities. And I think, we need to see stuff like this that is more child safe. But it used to be the case, I remember a number of years ago, that, if you were trying to move someone to a more kind of safe version of YouTube, you either give them, full access to YouTube, or you give them access to YouTube Kids, where they're watching nursery rhymes and Miss Rachel. It's like Peppa Pig and stuff. So there was nothing there for the kind of, those in the middle, kind of, moving between those kind of stages. So, hopefully there's more work can be done, especially for those, teenagers and so on as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big issue, David, actually, the kids in the middle. And a lot of kids that are in the middle between the ages of, we'll say, 10 and 14, or maybe 12 and 16, that kind of age group, they won't want teen Instagram. They'll want full Instagram, because they've probably had a little bit of access to the full Instagram. And when you're restricted, then it's restricting some of the access they have had already, and they're going to look for ways around it. It's a catch-22, and it's a very tough one for parents. But I think to really take control of it, or have some sort of control of it, you have to get control early, and don't give the child too much access early. Don't let them have their phones in their room late at night, that kind of thing, those kind of tips,
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, you want to come in there, I think?
Yeah, look, I think YouTube in particular is an interesting one, and maybe at the end of the day, because social media is basically all of us are, who post stuff, are, I suppose, producers, or whatever you want to call it, contributors, which, somebody in a court of law will make a distinction in that one. But at the end of the day, it's us, the public, that are putting up most of the stuff onto these sites. So is there a thing there whereby you're going to post a video up on YouTube that you have to declare the appropriateness age, that it should be part of, when you're posting a video to YouTube, that you've got to select who the audience is. Now, I know that is there. Should it be more prominent? Should it be a compulsory thing to have to publish? Or if you don't give it a group, it's just adults only, so if you do decide to skip over it.
It is an interesting point. I can tell you, because I do the podcast uploads for Vision Ireland here, and when we're uploading to YouTube, so it asks me one question: is the content made for kids? And that's about as specific as it gets.
Yeah.
You just take if it's made for kids or whether it's, safe to listen to by, all ages. And I think that's,
too
about
blunt,
as,
isn't it?
It is. Yeah. There's no granularity in that. So it is an interesting area for sure. But do be safe out there on Safer Internet Day. There are a lot of things to be aware of online. The internet, it has many, many benefits. But there are drawbacks too that you need to be aware of as well. Daniel, I do want to ask you about a story there that wasn't in the tech news, but we have a new exciting phone from Samsung was released last week. So do you want to tell us about this fancy new phone with tons of AI features?
Yeah, the Samsung S25 has hit the market. Official day it went out was the 7th of February there, just gone, so not that long. One of the main things it's touting is Galaxy AI, which I suppose is Samsung's dipping their toe into the water now. And all Galaxy AI has been building up slowly, but this is with this release of this phone, it's kind of pushed more center field. One thing that comes out for me in it is this call transcript. So there's not too much detail on it, but here's what to describe it from Samsung. So to say, with call transcript, I'll get it out. You can record, transcribe, and summarize calls so that you can remember them at a glance. Call transcripts generates automated notes to help you jog your memory later. So, I suppose often you're, maybe have a very important call, and it's nice to go back over it. So I think that's a nice feature.
Sounds cool. Yeah. It also sounds, I would hope that it's being done on device and stuff like that. That you would be thinking that, you're often, you will have a sensitive conversation in a phone call from time to time. And it is interesting that, your phone is noting this down.
Yeah. Well, I do have a Samsung S23. Unfortunately, I had to part ways with my old A71 just at the end of last year. Sadly, the phone met the concrete footpath and had a smashing time at that. So my contract was well out, so I was due an upgrade, long overdue an upgrade. So I went for the Samsung 23. There is Galaxy AI features on that particular model as well, and I did notice in there that there is an option to process it all on the device. So that is nice.
That is nice. That is definitely nice. Exciting stuff. Samsung releasing their new phone. Also, rumours this week that Apple are going to announce at some stage the iPhone SE 4. So very few details known about that. There's people suspecting that the home button will be dropped. A lot unclear. Yeah, I know, Daniel. I feel your pain. A lot of people benefit from the home button and Touch ID, but time will tell. We won't jump the gun. We'll probably talk about that in the newsletter at some stage as well once it is announced. But Daniel, Joe, for now, thank you so much for that. A reminder that if you want to send us a tech news story, you can do so, content@vi.ie, or send us a WhatsApp message as well. We'd love to hear from you. And if you do want to sign up for the Tech on Tap newsletter from Vision Ireland, it comes out every single Friday. You can sign up on the Vision Ireland website. Just search Google for Labs newsletter sign up from Vision Ireland, and you will find that there. You'll be able to sign up to receive all the latest news from Tech on Tap. But hey, that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening over the last little while. Hope you enjoyed all the tech news, the interview with Ian earlier on. Hope you've enjoyed the show. And hey, hope if you did, you might consider subscribing on YouTube or on your favourite podcast app. But for now, that's us. Thank you so much for listening. And hey, we'll see you for episode 78 in 2 weeks' time. So do subscribe and we'll talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with VI Labs. If you'd like to support our show, please visit vi.ie/donate. Talking Technology is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in digital accessibility services. IA Labs, digital inclusion, your legal obligation.